President Trump is returning to the White House Friday evening after wrapping up his 4-day trip to the Middle East, which included stops in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. Speaking to reporters on Air Force One, President Trump praised the leaders of those countries after a trip marked by business deals and lavish state dinners.
That was a great 4 days. I think it was a historic 4 days in all three countries. You can't speak more highly. The job they've done is, in a fairly short period of time, is just outstanding. And they're great people, great leaders, three great leaders.
Fin Gómez joins us now, the executive director for CBS News White House and politics coverage. Fin, thanks so much for being here. How much of the trip was about business? How much was about diplomacy? Yeah,
Lindsay, I did speak to some senior White House officials earlier today who say that this trip was focused primarily on economic agreements, yes, but they think that through those agreements, through what they accomplished, and what the president said, it's something that could happen, could be as much as, agreements in the trillions, that this is the power of diplomacy, by going through these avenues and not the non-traditional ones, because they're making agreements with key Arab leaders in a very key part of the world. So speaking to the White House, they say it was a huge success because of these agreements. However, we do know Bloomberg has reported that some senior administration officials are seeking to slow down these deals because there are concerns that the U.S. hasn't imposed sufficient guardrails, vetted these deals to prevent some of the American chips, specifically shipped to the Gulf, from ultimately benefiting China, which, as you know, Lindsay, has some pretty deep ties in this region. So there's still some concern by some members, according to these reports, members of the administration, that it may not be fully vetted. But of course, overall, the White House is championing these deals because of these key economic agreements.
While the president was still in the UAE, he spoke about the next steps on tariffs. Let's listen.
We have, at the same time, 150 countries that want to make a deal, but you're not able to see that many countries. So at a certain point over the next 2 to 3 weeks, I think Scott and Howard will be sending letters out, essentially telling people, it would be very fair, but we'll be telling people what they'll be paying to do business in the United States.
Where do we go from here?
Well, I mean, if you look at the Moody's ratings, the breaking news from earlier, just a little while ago, that they have downgraded the United States by a notch to AA1 from AAA, citing rising debt and interest. In part, I think some detractors are pointing to these tariffs as something that is really exacerbating the situation. However, again, if you talk to the I spoke to some senior administration officials earlier today who really think that they still have the tariffs really allow them leverage in continuing the president's economic policies and to continuing really the foreign policy through these constructs to allow for the United States to make more of an impact and have more leverage in making these deals that will benefit the United States. However, it's still 150 countries. We'll see what happens there. That's a lot of countries that really hasn't proven how much they've actually accomplished with these companies, respectively. So there's really still a wait-and-see approach here, Lindsay, to what will actually be accomplished with these tariffs.
Fin Gómez, thank you so much.